College basketball in the United States has much to offer besides the game itself. The traditions of historic programs, the battles between crosstown in-state rival schools that always become instant classics, and the thrill of March Madness where a school from nowhere USA takes down a blue blood program. It is fair to say that the college game is a national treasure in more ways than one. For most programs, the tradition aspect holds true in their home gyms and the atmosphere created by rowdy student sections across the country. What if I told you that a college gym never has a death date? In this long and overdue installment of Stadium Safari, we will highlight the 10 oldest active gyms in college basketball. If you are new to the channel, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell to be on the lookout for future videos, and we'll appreciate it if you watch to the end. The 10th oldest gym in college basketball is located on the West Coast in the heart of the Golden State. Haas Pavilion sits at 14 Frank Schlesinger Way on the campus of the University of California, Berkeley in Berkeley, California. The gym was built in November 1931 and opened on January 13, 1933. It has been renovated twice in 1997 and 2021 and has a current capacity of 11,858. The tenants of Haas are the California Golden Bears men's and women's basketball, women's volleyball, and men's and women's gymnastics teams who all compete in the Pac-12 conference. The construction cost for the gym was $727,500, which is $14.25 million today when calculating inflation. UC Berkeley was a place for prime real estate 20 years after miners came out west during the California Gold Rush. Among Bay Area natives and Californians like myself, we refer to UC Berkeley as just Cal or California due to the university being founded as the first land-grant university in the University of California system among the 9 other UCs in the state. When the gym first opened, it was known as Men's Gym from 1933 to 1959, later being changed to Harmon Gym from 1959 to 1997 in honor of an Oakland financier, AKP Harmon, who donated money to help fund the construction of the gym. It was in '97 when Walter A. Haas Jr., a UC Berkeley alum and son of the chairman of everyone's favorite gene maker, Levi's, gave the university an $11 million donation to help renovate the gym, leading the gym to get its current name, Haas Pavilion. While the renovations took 2 years to get done, Cal's men's and women's teams played their home games at the now tenantless Oakland Arena. The renovations would double the gym's initial capacity from 6,578 to 12,300, with decreases of attendance coming in later years. The student section, known as the Bench, even increased to hold up to 2,600 students. The renovation process also purposely made sure that the gym wasn't soundproof, making the gym environment intense for visiting opponents. With Cal playing in the prominent Pac-12 conference, Haas Pavilion has seen its fair share of high-profile matchups. A record-breaking attendance game at Haas Pavilion came on December 22, 2018, when a number 14 ranked Cal women's basketball team hosted then a number 1 team in the nation, UConn Huskies, in front of over 10,818 fans, where UConn won 76-66. Currently, Cal basketball altogether has seen a decline in ticket sales for games over the years. The same can be said about their other athletic programs. Cal has seen a 5,000 average attendance decrease since Jaylen Brown went one and done from Cal. Cal's athletics overall is currently in shambles after they made renovations to their football stadium back in the early 2010s, causing the university to pay $18 million annually in bond debts owed beginning in 2032 and will last until 2112. Sheesh. With debts being owed by the university, 20% of the athletics department budget is slashed yearly, which can contribute to the lack of success Cal athletics have had across the board in recent years. Basketball takes the hardest hit, especially being the highest revenue-driven sport next to football at the college level. Without fans packing Haas during basketball season, the rebuild timeline for Cal basketball could be a long one. The 9th oldest gym in college basketball is down south in the Big Easy. Devlin Fieldhouse is located at McAllister Place at Freewood Street in New Orleans, Louisiana. The gym broke ground in 1931, opened on October 15, 1933, and has had renovations done in 1988 and 2012 with a current capacity of 4,100. The tenants of Devlin are the Tulane Green Wave men's and women's basketball and women's volleyball team of the American Athletic Conference. The construction cost was $211,403 which is $4,865,033 today when calculating inflation. After Tulane's football team received the earnings from their appearance in the 1932 Rose Bowl, the money would go to the construction costs of the arena. Jokingly, Tulane's basketball gym is known as Rose Bowl Gym for that reason. Interestingly enough, Tulane once had their boxing team use the gym for competition. In my research, I recently discovered that college boxing was a thing. Tulane defeated the University of Louisiana Lafayette 38-34 in the facility's first game on December 15, 1933. Tulane Gym was one of the largest in college basketball when it opened, even though there were no court-level seats, which would come later on in 1948. The Green Wave played all of its home games in the facility until the mid-1970s, when a select number of games were moved to the Louisiana Superdome. The Wave moved all of its home games back on campus again after another remodeling was completed in 1981. The arena has also had major significance outside of sports as well, as on April 23, 1975, U.S. President Gerald Ford would announce the end of the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War inside Devlin. Even though the building carries much history in sports, the same can't be said about the basketball programs. The men's basketball team have not made a March Madness appearance in over 20 plus years, with the last appearance being in 1995. The women's team have gone 11 times but haven't been since 2015. If you're looking to go to college in a fun party city like New Orleans, Tulane is the place to be, but their success in arena sports still has a long way to go. The 8th oldest gym in college hoops is home to one of 3 Ivy League schools on the list. John J. Lee Amphitheater and Payne Whitney Gymnasium is located at 70 Tower Parkway on the campus of Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. The gym first opened in 1932 and has a current capacity of 2,532. The tenants of JLA are the Yale Bulldogs men's and women's basketball team and women's volleyball and gymnastics team of the Ivy League. The construction cost is unknown. The building was given to the university by the Whitney family in memory of Payne Whitney, a member of the class of 1898. Planning for the structure started in 1925, with groundbreaking ceremonies taking place in 1930. What makes Yale's gym unique is that it sits 9.5 stories high to accommodate their arena sports athletic facilities. The first basketball game in the amphitheater was played on December 2, 1932, with Yale defeating an alumni team 38-16. In 1996, Yale named the venue in honor of alumnus John Lee, class of '58, who set a number of Yale records in basketball and helped lead the Bulldogs to the first official Ivy League championship. It is quoted by basketball columnist John Feinstein in his book, The Last Amateurs, "There is no gym, arena, or field house in America that looks like Payne Whitney. It is 9 stories high, and from the outside it looks like a 20th century European cathedral." Also in 2011, Lee Amphitheater was selected as one of college basketball's historic venues by ESPN magazine. John Lee Amp has seen many great moments in Yale's basketball history, but the success of most Ivies today don't stem from the success they had in the early 1900s. However, Yale continues to be one of the most competitive college hoops programs in the Ivy League, as they were the Ivy League tournament champions in 2022. Their biggest victory came in the NCAA tournament as a number 12 seed, upsetting number 5 seed Baylor back in 2016. Even though a school like Yale is more academically focused than it is sports focused, it is quite a privilege to say that you are a student athlete at an Ivy League university. This may be a surprise to many, but the 7th oldest college basketball gym is in the land of 10,000 lakes. Williams Arena is located at 1925 Southeast University Avenue on the University of Minnesota campus in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Williams broke ground on May 10, 1927 and opened on February 4, 1928 and has a current capacity of 14,625. The arena is home to the Minnesota Golden Gophers men's and women's basketball team of the Big Ten Conference. The construction cost was $650,000, which is $11,175,890 today when calculating inflation. At first glance, the exterior of the arena is similar to that of a barn, which has given Williams Arena the nickname the Barnyard. The arena is also very spacious from the interior as well. The reason for the enormous interior space was due to the university to not only house their basketball teams, but also their hockey team. Minnesota is one of 62 universities to have a hockey program represented in NCAA Division I sports. When Williams had their first renovation in 1950, they redesigned it to where they split the initial structure in half, where they can house both basketball and hockey. In other words, they built an arena inside an arena to accommodate both programs until 1993, when the university would build a separate arena for the hockey team across the street from Williams, leaving the basketball teams to have the arena for themselves. From first glance, Minnesota has has one of the most aesthetically pleasing gyms in college basketball with its bright and white hardwood court. The men's basketball team has appeared in 14 NCAA tournaments over its history. However, 4 of those appearances were vacated by the NCAA due to an academic fraud scandal by members of the team during the mid-90s, along with their 2 NIT titles. The women's team, however, have 10 non-vacated NCAA tournament appearances in their history. Basketball may not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think of sports in Minnesota, but the college itself does invest a lot in their programs. The 6th oldest gym in the country comes from a state where basketball is king. Hinkle Fieldhouse is located at 510 West 49th Street on the campus of Butler University in Indianapolis, Indiana. The Fieldhouse was built in 1927 and opened in 1928 and has a current capacity of 9,100. The tenants are the Butler Bulldogs men's and women's basketball team and women's volleyball team of the Big East Conference. The construction cost was $750,000, which is $12,895,258 today when calculating inflation. Known as Indiana's basketball cathedral, Hinkle Fieldhouse is home to one of the most prestigious college basketball programs in the Hoosier State. Hinkle Fieldhouse was at one point the largest college basketball arena with a 15,000 seat capacity up until 1950. When the arena was first built, it would house both Butler's basketball team, but also be the host gym for the Indiana High School boys basketball state championship game. The Fieldhouse would go from being called Butler Fieldhouse to Hinkle Fieldhouse in 1966 when the gym was renamed after Tony Hinkle, who coached Butler's football, basketball, and baseball team, along with being the university's athletic director during his 40-plus year career at Butler. Now, this is a man that was the definition of no days off, am I right? In 1987, Hinkle Fieldhouse was given the blessing as a National Historic Landmark and is recognized as being a storied venue that helped increase the popularity of college basketball as a spectator sport over the years. Even though the Fieldhouse gives off the appearance of an old and nostalgic college gym, the university has made enhancements in recent years to modernize the facility for present-day Butler fans. During the summer of 2014, the Fieldhouse underwent a major $36 million renovation that provided significant upgrades and improvements, which has preserved the 86-year-old facility. The success of the facility is also matched well with the success of the basketball program. Butler's men's team played its first basketball game in the Fieldhouse on March 7, 1928, defeating Notre Dame 21-13 in overtime. Since then, Butler has made 16 NCAA tournament appearances and has been the runner-up of 2 national championships back-to-back years, coming in 2010 and 2011. The history of the Hinkle Fieldhouse was once stated by former Butler head coach and current Boston Celtics general manager Brad Stevens that it's not for everybody, but it's for somebody that appreciates tradition, somebody that appreciates history, and oftentimes those are people that appreciate team. The Butler Bulldogs play style is similar to the appearance of their ageless Fieldhouse, tough, loud, gritty, and old school. For a program that is still fighting to get to the promised land, their gym has been at the forefront of the history of basketball for Hoosiers, just like in the movie, with parts filmed inside Hinkle. We go back west for the 5th oldest gym in college hoops. Alaska Airlines Arena at Heck Edmondson Pavilion sits at 3870 Montlake Boulevard on the campus of the University of Washington in Seattle, Washington. The arena opened on December 27, 1927 and has a current capacity of exactly 10,000. The arena is home to the Washington Huskies men's and women's basketball, women's volleyball, and women's gymnastics team of the Pac-12 Conference. The construction cost was $600,000, which is $10.5 million today when calculating inflation. Alaska Airlines Arena has a rich history of hosting sporting events since it opened in 1927. UW's men's basketball team would play their first game against the Seattle Athletic Club at the arena, winning 34-27. In 1947, the arena was renamed the Heck Edmondson Pavilion in honor of the University of Washington's longtime coach and athletic director, Heck Edmondson. He led the Huskies to the Elite Eight in 1943. 1950 would be the first year of renovations for the arena, which included the addition of a second level and increased seating capacity. A marquee event for the arena was hosting the first ever NCAA Men's Final Four in 1952, where the title game would be St. John's versus Kansas, where Kansas would win the national championship. When it comes to the largest attended game, it actually wasn't a UW basketball game. The attendance record for the building is 12,961, set during the semifinals of the 1957 high school state basketball tournament for Washington. 1969 will be the year that the arena has expanded again, increasing its seating capacity to over 12,000. 1999 would come the year the arena underwent a $40 million renovation, which included the installation of a new scoreboard and video display system along with other renovations to the court. When the arena reopened in 2000, Bank of America secured the naming rights for the venue, paying the university $9.1 million over a 10-year deal. 2010 would be the year when Alaska Airlines secured their current naming rights deal with the arena. As for UW's men's team, they have been occasional frontrunners in the Pac-12 conference with 12 conference regular season titles in their history. They have also seen a steady attendance rate over the years as well and continue to stay competitive in the college basketball rankings. The same can be said for the women's team, as they made the women's Final Four in 2016 and can claim the NCAA women's basketball all-time leading scorer and WNBA star Kelsey Plum as an alumna of the program. Overall, Alaska Arena continues to be a mainstay in the Seattle sports consortia as a reliable venue for sporting events. Another venue of the Ivy League finds its way on the list as the fourth oldest gym and proclaimed cathedral of college basketball. The Palestra sits at 235 South 33rd Street on the campus of the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The arena opened on New Year's Day 1927 and has a current capacity of 8,725. The current tenants are the Penn Quakers men's and women's basketball team and men's wrestling team of the Ivy League. The construction cost is unknown. The Palestra has hosted countless college basketball games, professional boxing matches, wrestling events, and other athletic competitions since it first opened its doors in 1927. The Palestra's rich history and storied past have made it one of the most iconic sports venues in the United States. The idea for the Palestra was born in the early 1920s when a group of University of Pennsylvania administrators and alumni decided that the school needed a modern athletic facility. The university's previous gymnasium was cramped and outdated, and it couldn't accommodate the growing demand for athletic events. In 1926, the university announced plans to construct the Palestra on campus. The building would be designed to meet the needs of all of the school's athletic programs, including basketball, wrestling, and boxing. Construction of the Palestra began in 1926, and the building was completed in just 1 year. The Palestra was designed by architect Charles Clowder, who was known for his work on several other prominent Philadelphia buildings. He also designed Penn's football stadium, Franklin Field. Clowder's design for the Palestra was both functional and elegant, with a distinctive Art Deco style that would become a hallmark of the building. The Palestra opened its doors on January 1st, 1927, with a men's college basketball game between Penn and Yale. The game was played before a sellout crowd of 10,000 fans, where Penn would beat Yale 26-15. The Palestra quickly became known for its lively atmosphere and passionate fans, and it soon became one of the most popular destinations for college basketball in the country. Overall, the Palestra has hosted more NCAA tournament games than any other arena in the U.S. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, the Palestra continued to be a hub of activity for Philly sports fans. The building's proximity to several local colleges and universities made it an ideal location for college basketball games for the historic Philadelphia Big Five, an unofficial league which includes all the major Division I universities in the Philly metropolitan area, which include Penn, LaSalle, Villanova, Drexel, St. Joseph's, and Temple. In the 1980s, the building underwent a major renovation to modernize its facilities and improve its overall appearance. The renovation included the installation of new seating, new locker rooms, and updated lighting and sound systems. Penn's men's basketball team have also been tournament regulars, as they are tied with Princeton for the most Ivy League regular season championships at 26, while also being the 20th winningest pro college basketball program all time. Despite the many changes that have taken place over the years, the Palestra remains an iconic symbol of Philadelphia's sports culture. The building's unique architecture and rich history have made it a beloved landmark for generations of sports fans. As we stay in the Ivy League, we go to the oldest Ivy League gym on the list at the oldest university in the United States. Lafayettes Pavilion is located at 45 North Harvard Street on the campus of Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. The gym first opened in 1926 and has a current capacity of 1,636. The tenants are the Harvard Crimson men's and women's basketball team and women's volleyball team of the Ivy League. The construction cost is unknown. The origins of Lafayettes Pavilion can be traced back to the early 20th century when Harvard's athletic programs began to grow in popularity and size. Prior to the construction of Lafayettes Pavilion, Harvard's basketball teams played their home games in several different locations around the campus, including the Malkin Athletic Center and the Indoor Athletic Building. These venues were adequate for their time, but they were beginning to show their age, and the Harvard administrators began to explore the idea of constructing a modern, state-of-the-art sports facility. The construction of Lafayettes Pavilion was made possible by a generous donation from Ray Lafayettes, a Harvard alumnus and successful businessman. Lafayettes was a passionate sports fan, and he believed that Harvard needed a first-class sports facility in order to remain competitive with their top-tier universities. Construction of Lafayettes Pavilion began in 1925, and the building was completed the following year. The building's grand opening took place on December 4th, 1926, with a basketball game between Harvard and Amherst College. The game was played before a sellout crowd of 2,500 fans, where Harvard beat Amherst 32-21. Lafayettes Pavilion quickly became known for its lively atmosphere and passionate fans, and it soon became one of the most popular destinations for college basketball in the Northeast. Despite the many changes that have taken place over the years, Lafayettes Pavilion remains an integral part of Harvard's athletic tradition. The building's unique architecture and rich history have made it a beloved landmark for generations of sports fans. Even today, more than 90 years after its construction, Lafayettes Pavilion continues to be a hub of activity for Harvard sports teams and a popular destination for college basketball fans from around the country. We stay in the Northeast as we go to New York City for the second oldest gym in college basketball. Rose Hill Gym is located at 465 East Fordham Road on the campus of Fordham University in the Bronx, New York. The gym first opened in 1925 and has a current capacity of 3,200. Attendants are the Fordham Rams men's and women's basketball team and women's volleyball team of the Atlantic 10 Conference. The construction cost is unknown. The Rose Hill Gym has a unique history since it first opened. Even with its miniature interior size, the gym was still used as a barrack during World War II. The first ever basketball game at the gym was played on January 16, 1927, when Fordham beat Boston College 46-16 in front of a sellout crowd. There might have been some biased refereeing from that game, as the referee was Frankie Fish, a Major League Baseball player who was a Fordham alum who played for the school's baseball and basketball team when he was a student. According to Fordham's athletic website, the most recent renovation came in the summer of 2019, when the entire floor and subfloor of the gym was replaced with a new state-of-the-art wood surface that contains shock-absorbing materials to reduce strain on student athletes' bodies, as well as a waterproof membrane that keeps moisture away. The court was also given a new design with a cleaner look. A marquee and memorable moment in the gym's history that is actually not Fordham related was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's final high school basketball game, where he won the city championship for Power Memorial Academy. In 1988, Rose Hill Gym was also the site of the 1988 Catholic High School Athletic Association Championship game, with St. Nicholas of Tolentine High School of the Bronx versus Archbishop Malloy High School of Queens, and what was called Best High School Game of the 80s by New York Newsday. I actually watched the game myself while I was doing research, and it was an instant classic. I left the link for you to go check out the full game for yourself in the description. As for Fordham's team, they have been historically more NIT regulars than they have March Madness regulars, as they have made 16 NIT appearances in a time where the NIT was more popular than the NCAA tournament, especially for college basketball in New York. Fordham can brag that they played in the first ever televised college basketball game when they lost to Pittsburgh at Madison Square Garden in the 1940 season. Despite Fordham basketball not matching their success with the historic lore of their storied gym, they are proud to still call Rose Hill Gym home. We have now made it to the oldest active gym in college basketball and even the oldest active arena in the world. Matthews Arena is located at 238 St. Botolph Street on the campus of Northeastern University in Boston, Massachusetts. The gym opened in 1910 and has a current capacity of 5,066. The tenants that currently use Matthews are the Northeastern Huskies men's and women's basketball team and men's and women's ice hockey team of the Colonial Athletic Association. The construction cost is unknown. The arena was initially built for ice hockey, as Northeastern is considered to be a college hockey powerhouse in the Northeast. In 1918, a portion of the building was destroyed by a fire, but it was built and reopened in 1921. The arena has had some of Boston's pro sports teams call the arena home, as the Boston Bruins began their history as a franchise and one of the NHL's original six, playing their home games at Matthews in the 1920s, while the Boston Celtics would also use the arena from the late 1940s to the mid-1950s, while the Boston Garden went through renovation stages. The Bruins played their first ever game in franchise history at Matthews on December 1st, 1924, beating the Montreal Maroons 2-1. Northeastern's hockey game at the arena was on January 17th, 1930, while the Celtics played their first ever game at the arena in 1946. It is a shock to many that Matthews Arena is the oldest active gym in college basketball, while Northeastern hasn't historically had much success in basketball. Despite this, they are able to call the oldest active arena in the world home, as Matthews Arena continues to become ageless as a sports venue. This concludes the countdown list of the 10 oldest active gyms in college basketball. Comment down below on which gym was your favorite on the list, and make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. Thank you for watching, and remember, teams tell the stories and the stadiums illustrate them.